The Tour of Taihu Lake is now into its 7th year, with the world of professional cycling taking to the roads of one of the most scenic regions that China has to offer. The 8-day race began with a short prologue time trial in the city of Wuxi, around 150 kilometers west of Shanghai, right in the Yangtze River Delta. 22 teams of 6 riders turned up with hopes and aspirations for late season results at this 2.1 race on the UCI Asia Tour. It all started with the prologue under sunny skies on a Saturday morning. Some good times set early on, around 7.5 minutes seemed like the early time to be. Times from just all about over the world. Latvia with some strong riders putting good times in. Peter Prus would hold the lead for a long time. As before the top Chinese rider, Zhong Jingbiao. Many had come to see him very close to taking the lead. Close but not close enough. It's the top teams from Italy. One of the 5 professional continental teams or second division teams had a go. It'd been a Minsk cycling club though to set the top time. Alexander Golovash, rider from Ukraine, riding for the Belarusian team, setting the best time. He'd hold on to it, take the first orange leader's jersey. He'd lead ahead of Khorrami of Iran, Bailey of Australia with Stakiotti and Godoy all in the top 10. So to stage 1 proper, another beautiful sunny morning in the town of Wuxi. All eyes on Zhao yet again as the best Chinese rider. 111 kilometres, a very short opening stage, destined to end in a sprint with 2 30-kilometre laps and 2 intermediate sprints. Remember, points for the points jersey and vital bonus seconds up for grabs at each of those sprint passages. A final 20 kilometres along Taihu Lake back into the city of Wuxi would set up the final sprint. And once the gun went, very early on a Sunday morning, 8:25 a.m. start, there'll be early attacks. It'll take a long time for the race to calm down, however. Villiers Southeast keeping the peloton together for sprint points. And 2015 champion Jakub Mareczko out there to take the points and bonus seconds. Once he'd done that, green jersey would attempt to get away to get some points back for sprint number 2. However, the presence of the Iranian Khorrami would mean that Villiers would not let the group go. So the second attack went, and a group of 9 riders would go away very briefly towards the end of the stage. That group 2 wouldn't last long as the orange jersey and Villiers, looking to set up the sprint, would bring back the break. Only Halmuratov of the Beijing XDS team and the most combative rider on the day, Thomas Vaubanzet of Delco Marseille, would stay away. They stayed away for the last 20 Ks or so, but they were brought back inside the last 10. It was nicely controlled by the chasing peloton. Minsk Cycling Club doing their job to honour the jersey. But the favourite on the day had his team come to the front of the group at just the right time. Vaubanzet, the last survivor, brought in at 5.5 Ks to go. A late attack from Wong. That wasn't to last too long though, because the yellow flow army of Villiers Southeast set things up. Rafael Andreato, the Brazilian, doing his job. Giuseppe Fonzi with the lead out. And it would be Jakub Mareczko to come around and out-sprint his rivals to take the victory. Once he hit the front in the last 200 metres, the big challenger from Nippo Vini Fantini, Nicola Marini, wouldn't hit the front. And it had been all-Italian podium in the end, Mareczko getting the first win. So 2 hours, 20 minutes of racing. Mareczko followed by Marini, with Zanotti taking third. So a superb team job carried out by Villiers Southeast, and Mareczko winning the first stage.
the stage is flat, it's for me, and maybe I hope to do the same that today. Orange jersey is it's hard to take it, but maybe the point jersey, I think that I can take it maybe.
Orange jersey currently on the shoulders of Golovash of Ukraine. Just a 3-second lead over Kwarami. Manichko getting there at 6 back.
С первого до последнего километра мы все контролировали, и все было под нашим чутким контролем.
From the beginning till the last km, we controlled the race. Everything was under control, so we didn't worry about the jersey.
So a champagne day yet again for Orange jersey Golovash.
Jakub Marezko, Villiers Sautis, sono contento di essere qui al Taihu Lake per questo tour.
So stage 2 of the tour of Taihu Lake already underway. Lots of news to bring you. We'll bring you that in just a few minutes once we get the images from the first intermediate sprint, of course. We've had a breakaway go away. I can tell you the 7 riders up the road. They've had an advantage of just over a minute as we look at the finish line. Finish line down at the Wuxing area, the tourist resort, very close to Huju. Huge hotel that you can see in the background. It's splendidly built on the shores of the lake. Population of just under 3 million in this particular area. Still in the Yangtze River Delta on our tour around Taihu Lake. As you can see, the breakaway just coming through the finish area for the first time. They're off on their lap around this tourist area before they'll come back. And Villiers Southeast, Nippo Vini Fantini, those teams not involved in the breakaway will be hoping to chase them down and make sure they set up the sprint that they wanted at the start of the day. It's a rather calm atmosphere now after a very, very foggy start. No sunshine today, but thankfully enough visibility to see what's going on. There are 7 riders in the break, 7 different nationalities, 7 different teams as well. All working together and try to stay out for as long as possible. All about the exposure time on a flat stage rather than realistic hopes of the win today. But you never know in cycling. Keep working together. See the rest of the group about to come by. First motorbikes with the peloton about to hit the road. There's even a selfie opportunity for the policeman on the finish line there. So this is the bunch, very relaxed, first sighting of them today. Has been led by Villiers Southeast throughout the day, as you might expect. No real need for the orange jersey team to do any riding at the moment. The Minsk Cycling Club, they know today that if Jakub Mareczko does take the win, then they will take the bonus seconds and he should take the lead. Minsk, however, honouring the jersey as best as they can and doing a little bit of riding to help out.
My name's Jay Dudden. I'm from the Australian Continental Team St George Merida, and we're very excited to get underway with the 2016 Taihu Lake.
You're watching the tour of Taihu Lake. Today for stage 2, we leave Chongqing, a city that's been around for more than 7,000 years. It's the gateway to the Jiangxing province, around 90 minutes driving distance from Shanghai, Hangzhou and Nanjing. Surrounded by beautiful green hills, and of course on the shores of the lake from which this race takes its name. As well as the wildlife, another bustling city. It's known for having one of the happiest populations in the east of China. harmony in family and career life, a very, very high life expectancy rating as well. Huzhou is the regional capital, and it is to Huzhou where we ride today. Total population of just under 3 million in this area. And a very unique cultural identity too. It's actually the birthplace of the famous Huzhou writing brush style. But manufacturing has overtaken that tradition, and this is now a vital, bustling economic area. That, of course, has contributed to the prosperity that we mentioned, but they do retain their tradition. And as well as sport, they're into their unique tea and silk culture. So to the sport in stage 2, 139 kilometres leaving Chongqing. One lap around the government hall. There's the intermediate sprint before heading out onto the shores of the lake. Through the finish line, one lap of the temple, another intermediate sprint before sprint number 3 comes after 93.5 kilometres. It's back from Chaolo village and to the finish line. Riders signed in under foggy skies on stage 2. A happy day though yet again for the orange jersey wearer Golovash. Eyes on the best Chinese rider, Zhao, and certainly on the man who could take orange at the end of the day, Jakub Mareczko.
In the first kilometers, we try to take a breakaway in front, and they go out when they have 70 kilometers. And today maybe we try to take the breakaway before in the first kilometers, and after we try to do the sprint.
So the opening ceremony well followed as always. We talked about the hanging on to the traditional culture. It was in full demonstration before the riders started. And the local director of the Sports Bureau said that they fully prepared for today's stage. Have a beautiful city, a beautiful course. Very, very happy with the event. And once it was underway, it wouldn't take long before the attacks came. First ceremonial rollout, but Nippo Vini Fantini wanted to try and make things pretty hard straight away for Villiers Southeast.
Hi, I'm Shinichi Fukushima, the team manager of the Nippo Vini Fantini. And this is a third race in China this year, and we try to hope win the stages.
So who is going to win the stage? That's the question. At the finish line, just outside the brand new Sheraton Hotel. We've already seen the peloton come through, chasing the breakaway. They have them fairly much under control at the moment. They've done pretty well. First sprint came after 30-odd kilometres. It was a fairly fast start, just 45 minutes riding before they got there. You can see a few hangers-on at the back of the bunch. No need to do too much frantic chasing though yet. They've been kept at about a minute and a half. So as I said, that break out there with around a minute, just over a minute and a half. We'll get a better check on that. We'll explain exactly who's taken what in the intermediate sprints in just a moment's time. We'll get our first real live images from the course. You can tell you there are still 7 riders out there in front. Kanepius, Correa, Alder, Strupek, Woods, Feltman and Palchak are all there. In the meantime, preparations being made at the finish line, as you can see. Preparations, and you can make all the best preparations, but you can't prepare for the weather. A few spots of rain coming down at the finish line, and it has been forecast this afternoon. Remember, we heard right at the start of the week from Jakub Mareczko saying that when he won the race last year, the stages weren't the hardest. However, he had to cope with everything from 10 to 30 degrees in temperature and bright sunshine to fog to rain as well. There are a few strugglers and stragglers out there on the race. And we've also got, as you saw in that last lovely little clip of the sports events and the marathon, some amateur bike racing going on to accompany this Tour of Taihu Lake. It is the new model in cycling, the Sportive model. We've seen it at many new events around the world. The Tour of Taihu Lake not missing a trick as far as that's concerned. They're getting their slice of the market. Congratulations to that gentleman. I think he's just finished third.
Altna van Engelen of Parkhotel Valkenburg cycling team. It's definitely great to be here at Lake Taihu Cycling Tour.
You're watching live images from the final 70 kilometres of stage 2 of the Tour of Taihu Lake. Let's get straight to it. We have 7 riders out there in the breakaway. March, Palchak, Veltman, Kenepius, Mansilla with Woods and Strupek as well. Very, very interesting to see what's going on. In fact, René Correia, pardon me, is the rider out there in the break for start. There's the number 195, Matthias Strupek from Dukla Praha. They're being chased down quite surprisingly at the minute by the orange jersey team. A difficult one today for Minsk Cycling Club. They know that if Jakub Mareczko takes another sprint win, the bonus seconds will take him into the orange jersey. I think the tactics from Minsk today is to ride hard and make sure they cross their fingers and hope that Mareczko doesn't take the win. We've already had one intermediate sprint today, by the way. 7 riders went out there. It came at around the first lap of the opening section of road that was done. First sprint that was taken by Denis Kenepius, Latvian rider, getting out there just ahead of René Correia. Here's the rider from Attack Team Gutso, Mark Alder, who finished third. Villiers Southeast chased on, but no points, no seconds left available. And this is what happened. It was Kenepius followed by Correia and Martz. Sprint number 1 with 5, 3 and 1 handed out. And remember the 3, 2 and 1 bonus seconds respectively as well. So there is René Correia again, who's out in the break. Not Christian Mansilla, as we saw on the graphics there. Interesting that Nippo are joining the chase as well today, certainly with only 1 minute and 25 of a gap. They've been coaxed into riding a little bit by Villiers Southeast. And that is Genki Yamamoto, who was out in the break yesterday. And it looks as though the breakaway splitting up. Correia behind at 163. The man he's with, wearing 173, is Nicholas Woods of St George Merida. Australian team out there in the front with their pink and black jerseys on, riding at this very level for the first time in their careers. 2.1 level. Correia, the Mexican rider in the blue. Woods representing Australia and representing his Australian team. But it's 2 days in succession in the break for the man from Mexico. He's a bit of a breakaway specialist. He told us at the start of the week when he spoke to us that he wanted to be in the breaks and see what happened, just as he was at the World Championships. And he's been part of a 7-man move. Looks as though they have gone away to try and take the next sprint. With them is Mark Alder in the yellow jersey as well. Remember but there are combativity prizes, all sorts, on show this week, as we see a couple of the main jerseys. There's the red jersey of Zhao Jingbiao. He's the best Chinese rider so far, currently 10th in the overall general classification. And Minsk riding as well alongside Nippo Vini Fantini and Villiers Southeast. So the only real hope that Minsk have of holding on to the jersey today is that the sprint actually happens, but for some reason Jakub Mareczko has to put up with third place. So this is that break still breaking up. Somebody obviously not happy with the rhythm at which things were going. So was it a difficult number? When you get past 5 or 6 in a breakaway, get up to 7, 8, 9 riders, it's hard to make sure that everybody pulls their weight. Not all riding on and through in the same intensity. In the meantime, there's plenty of intensity behind. Peloton fairly strung out to say that there are 65 Ks to go. Just over, in fact. Rider number 31 there was Corentin Chéral. 1:03. And results of the second sprint that we just saw break up the peloton. It was Canepes yet again to take the victory. Just behind him, René Correa. Correa of Mexico. Number 71, there's Josef Palčák of the Slovakian team. This was the sprint again. Correa at the front leading it out. And you could see Canepes just behind. The man from Latvia able to get out there, hit the front, take the points in the seconds yet again. It looks as though, in fact, coming third was Nicholas Woods. So a little different from the graphic you saw on your screen there. In fact, it was Canepes, followed by Correa and Nicholas Woods in third place. So breakaway getting organised again, which is good news really for this stage, because these guys, we don't want to give them too an easy job. It's a flattish day today. Rafael Andriato there towards the back, ferrying the bidons and bottles. As you see, the weather just starting to change. That isn't great news for the sprinters. It is a fairly last couple of kilometres on the flat and on the straight again, so not too many worries about that in terms of accidents. But it's quite warm, so there's not too much cold weather gear on there, or too much to protect the riders, pardon me, from the rain. Good job being done by Serhej Papok. He's at the front of the race. In the meantime, you saw the light blue jersey at the back there of Thomas Vaubolzé. He was the most aggressive rider yesterday, wearing number 4. Riding for a Delco Marseille Provence team that is now -2 riders. They came here with 1 rider less, just with 5 of their allotted 6 riders. Well, there's an updated graphic. Canepes first. It was in fact René Correa, not Christopher Mansilla, who came second, with Woods finishing third. Yamamoto working hard at the front. And they're chasing down this group. There is René Correa on the front of the group on the right-hand side, number 163. 136 just behind him, working hard as well, Milan Veltman. Veltman, the Dutchman, by the way, from Park Hotel Valkenburg. They've done well to make 2 breaks from 2. And that's the aim for a lot of the teams here this week. Worldwide television coverage, get the sponsors on the television at the end of the season, and see what sort of results you can get. In the meantime, we're 1 less now in the breakaway. Denis Canepes has decided to drop back after winning 2 intermediate sprints. Yesterday, they did have a good placing for Maris Bogdanovic, who's their main sprinter, number 141. I think Canepes probably has a bit of work to do in the lead out here. Difficult to manage resources when just 6 men in each team. A couple of teams managing it fairly well. But this is only stage 2, and attentions will already start to turn to the hilltop finish in 24 hours' time. That'll be one for the general classification. We don't really expect Villiers Southeast to be too involved in that, unless they're going to go with Yonder Godoy. In the meantime, it's still Villiers working hard. A lot of working to do for Mirko Tedeschi today. A long day riding on the front 24 hours ago. Already looks as if he's a little on the rivet. It has been raining already in this particular area. And you can just see from the spots on the lens that it might be about to return. Something that everybody will be a little bit wary of. Remember, today we started in Chongqing, heading to the tourist resort at Wuxing in the Hezhou area. Break down to 6 now, 136 behind Milan Feldman in the green and white jersey. 163 in the blue is the much talked about already René Correia. Woods is there as well. Just to remind you that Mansilla with the Chilean flag there is not in this break. It is in fact Correia, the Mexican, just as it was 24 hours ago. 71 there, Josef Palchak in the green jersey of Dukla. Maciej Strupek. So 62 k's to go. It's been a fairly calm last 20 kilometres or so since the breakaway was allowed to establish. Bit of help from Nippo Vini Fantini there. Minsk in conversation with those teams riding at the front. I think they've just decided to knock it off a little bit. It is down to the sprinters teams here. Well, where are we riding today? Well, into Huzhou. Extremely well settled and old area here. 7,000 years of civilization in Chongqing where we started. It's all within a reachable area from the big top tier cities of the region, Shanghai, Hangzhou and Nanjing. 90 minutes to 2 hours on the motorway away. This is the only real elevation on the route at the moment. Heading around this lap, not far away from the temple. Had a few fines yesterday for throwing of bidons and what have you. In fact, it was Marseille Provence who were told off about that. The DS, Director Sportif Arvis Biskis, had to give up 200 Swiss francs to the organisers. And Sofiane Merignat, rider number 2, was fined 50 Swiss francs for his little part in the illegal refuelling, let's say. They did walk away though with that most aggressive rider prize, and with just 4 riders in the team they'll be looking to come up with what they can now. Leo Duque with 6th place in the sprint yesterday, so not bad from the Colombian despite his advancing years. Well, these lads working really well hard together. A Start Vaxis Partizan team based in Serbia, but their beating heart is Latin American. You've seen good performances from Correia already in the breakaway. Yesterday, Chris Mansilla of Chile was saved for the sprint. Sort of expect the same to happen today, but the fact that they have a man out in the breakaway means that they're not obliged to chase. There's Nick Woods there, 42 seconds behind the overall general classification. In fact, most riders still within a minute, by the way, but we did have a fairly spectacular arrival of the Lanterne Rouge yesterday. That was Jos Koop of Start Vaxis Partizan team. 11 minutes and 6 down yesterday on the penultimate rider. It's a long 8-day race for Jos Koop. Certainly be allowed away in the next breakaway though, without too many worrying about his presence. Well, no spectacular sunshine today, but it's good that we've got the view anyway. Rather misty, almost foreboding atmosphere around. Jakub Mareczko was pleased with the sunshine yesterday. He sounded confident at the start today. Talked about trying to let the early breakaway go a little earlier today, not worrying too much about the first sprint, have a calmer start to the race and then use the team's firepower to chase down the break, and so far it seems to have gone to plan. Mirko Tedeschi on the front again, working hard. Long terms for 2 or 3 of the riders. The rest will be saved towards the end. We saw it yesterday. Final couple of kilometres. Fonzi was there, Andriato was there, Yonder Godoy not far away neither. And Marechko finished off the job rather well. Canals, water. Seems to be water everywhere you look around this area. It's either extremely flat or the lowly elevated hills. Nothing too mountainous, but we'll be heading into the mountains tomorrow. .58 k's to go. In fact, talking of the water and the hills, they've got a saying in this part of the world. Reading up on it this morning. Talked about their deep cultural identity. It is based around the water, it is based around nature before manufacturing came in and took over. They say blue waters and green hills are of great value. Something to keep in mind. So here's the breakaway again. Palchak, Feltman, Correa, Woods, and alongside them Alder and Strupek. So we were 7. It's clever riding from Denis Kapenis, who's the Latvian rider, by the way. He was the early inhabitor of the breakaway. All that water again we talked about. And the tea culture we briefly mentioned, but silk is hugely important in this part of the world as well. It's been a huge economic powerhouse even before China became an industrial nation. Huzhou itself, though, has a huge, long history. Actually, the only city in the Taihu territory to be named after the lake. The word Hu in Mandarin does mean lake. Huzhou, Lake City. And they reckon there's been human activity around here for the last 1,000,000 years or so. Absolutely incredible, but the recorded settlements for 7,000 years. Not too much time for these guys to take any of that in, though. They're working hard just to maintain their advantage. It's all about working as a team, working together at this stage. .71 at the front there. He's one of 2 Czechoslovak speaking teams at this race. There's the team from Slovakia, Dukla Banska Bystrica, Josef Palchak in the green. He's got a mate to talk to here from over the border in Czech Republic, Maciej Strupek, representing Dukla Praha. That's the team on the right hand side, the black jersey with the, it's almost like the Belgian colours. Yellow and red, as Correa again in his blue comes to the front. That's the aforementioned rider representing Dukla Banska in the green, Palchak. Gap's gone down to 1 minute and 10 here, and they're still fairly strung out at the front. It's really surprising, actually. Almost think that they could allow them 2 or even 3 minutes at this part, but given the fact that there are only 2 really strong sprint teams, anything north of 2 minutes might be a bit of a risk to take. Only 6-man teams as well, not too much firepower to bring things back. I know there are plenty of you watching down under in Australia. Nicholas Woods there representing the team that I know that lots of you will be hoping can take results. This is the head of the race, Nicholas Woods in the pink and black there. The peloton chasing on behind, still led en masse by Villiers and Nippo, the two Italian-based teams. Nippo Vinifantini with Yamamoto of Japan doing the work. Nippo Vinifantini is an interesting team. It's the first ever team that's been a fusion of Italian-Japanese interests in cycling. So we have several Japanese riders on the roster. In fact, Shinichi Fukushima is one of the two directors sportifs. He is from Japan as well. In fact, he's the guy with the shortest holiday in cycling, I think. He's going home for 4 days at the end of this season, right after this race. After that, poor Shinichi has got more work to do. He takes a flight to Italy in the pre-season training camp for 2017. Oh, it's non-stop nowadays, isn't it? Just a reminder of who is out there in the race. Alder, Woods, Correa, Paltzak, Feltman and Strupek. And just 1 minute and 5. Novo Nordisk in their white jerseys. By the way, they were very busy on social network yesterday evening, excusing their performance yesterday. Not too happy about it, in fact. It was Martin Vasseur who said we can't make the top 10 every day.
Hello, I am René Correa. I'm a rider for Starbucks Partisan, and we're here at Lake Taihu to try to win some races, right?
I don't think the man you heard from there is going to win too many races today, but he's certainly giving us all in the break. René Correa, 2 days out of 2 in the breakaway. That's all you can ask from him. Specialist in that discipline, really. It's always a good way to get a contract. This man be doing rather well as well. Any spotters around? If you can read your Latin mottos, have a go at that one for us. That's the race leader, Alexander Golovash, in the orange jersey. Chasing at the front, Matteo Draperi has taken over from Mirko Tedeschi. .145 at the back, Armand Bessis. And 175 though, Brodie Talbot of Australia in the pink and black. Two teams with very similar kits there, in fact. To differentiate, one's on the black Merida bikes, the other on the green bikes as well of RTS. It's the RTS Monton Racing team from Taipei, the other team clad in pink and black. They're led here, by the way, by Ilya Davidenok. He was up there in the sprint yesterday. .110 then for the breakaway ahead of the peloton. Approaching around 2 hours of racing now. 139 kilometres the total on today's stage. And you can see the orange jersey being nicely honoured by Minsk Cycling Club. I mean, let's face it, not every day they get a leader's jersey at this particular level. The rhythm not too high behind. A couple of riders nipping off for a comfort break. Villiers and Nippo able to talk to each other. Certainly not two people on the edge of their limit right now. And just let this break hang out there as long as possible.
My name's Jay Dudden. I'm from the Australian Continental Team St George Merida, and we're very excited to get underway with the 2016 Taihu Lake.
.130 riders on the roads of East China, the Jiangsu province, and heading into Huzhou today for this one. 6 riders up the road, 1 minute and 10 is the gap, 51.6 kilometres to go. Only rider that has climbed off so far has been Fredrik Strongolter. Had a bit of a nightmare in the prologue. Didn't start yesterday's stage, it emerged towards the end. Up there in the break then, let's meet them. Man on your screen is Mats Alder of the attack team Gusto. 136 there from Netherlands is Milan Veltman. Just taking the lead in the group, that's Matthias Strupek of team Dukla Praha. 71. He's from team Dukla Banska Bystrica over in Slovakia. That's Josef Palchak. And he's joined by René Correa of Mexico and Nicholas Woods of Australia. There's the orange jersey, the leader of the race at the moment, Alexander Golovash of Ukraine, racing for the Minsk Cycling Club. And surprise, surprise, well, it's no surprise really, Villiers Southeast setting the pace at the front. They've been helped up by Nippo Vini Fantini, teams who were first and second respectively yesterday, with their sprinters Jakub Mareczko and Nicola Marini. By the way, they're the two riders who lead the points classification. Mareczko wears the green jersey today, so easily identifiable wherever you're watching towards the end of the race. Marini up there towards the front, being kept nice and safe in about 6th position right now. Will they ride for him today? Because Nippo Vini Fantini have brought a team of different sprinters, able to change their plans if they wish. For Villiers South, it's pretty clear that they are all in for Jakub Mareczko. Remember, he was the overall winner of this race last year. The way things have changed, the way that the course has changed, actually, it means that he's fairly probably not going to be in with a shout this time. We'll find out tomorrow, in fact, when we go up the mountain, up to Anji. There's the white and blue jerseys of the Tabriz petrochemical team. Always wants to watch when there are mountains involved. In the meantime, Maris Bogdanovic, sprinter from Riekmu Delfin of Latvia, goes back to the car for some food and instructions. He'll have to start to get switched on in the next 40 to 50 kilometres or so. Another bead on. The rhythm is so calm at the minute that there's no problem for any of the leaders to go back, all the way back to the car. You see plenty of conversations happening. Riders chatting to the mates. How was the hotel last night? Well, any gossip from around the peloton? Transfers is a big thing in contracts at this time of year. Are you sorted for next season, mate? I hope that most of them are by now, because we're getting towards the stage where pre-season training camps will be taking place. For anybody that isn't in the breakaway, what a shop window, eh? 49.5 kilometres to go. And Josef Palchak, one of those riders looking to impress the scouts, maybe move up a level. Each and every rider represented in the breakaway is actually from a 3rd division team, a continental team. So not all strictly professionals the year round. Certainly in terms of the wages that some of the guys at the front of this peloton are going to receive. Professional continental level, which is the 2nd division of world cycling. Top 2 teams, in fact, rode the first Grand Tour of the year, the Giro d'Italia. We'd expect them to do the same next season. In fact, Southeast have just won the Coppa Italia again, the Italian Cup. That guarantees them entry into next season's first Grand Tour, the Tour of Italy. An important one to be in too, because it's the 100th Giro d'Italia. Starting from Sardinia, going down to Sicily. First stage at Mount Etna next year before they go up the eastern side through Puglia, through Florence, into the Dolomites and Alps, before the final day's time trial in Milan. So, movement up in the breakaway. Interesting, yet again, it's René Correa who is not happy. Such a combative rider, perhaps he wants that prize at the end of the day. There he is in the blue jersey. He's taken 2 other riders with him. Rider number 71 is Josef Palchak. And 53, Mats Alder from attack team Gusto. They, by the way, had the best result of any of the non-top teams yesterday. Luke Parker pulled off a 4th place. They've got to work behind to make sure they close this gap. If it isn't closed quickly, then they will drift rather quickly back to the peloton. I think this little movement off the front has probably been provoked by the fact that the gap from breakaway to peloton had gone down to under a minute, and that's without the peloton riding hard. So somebody obviously not pulling their weight in the breakaway. Correa decided to press on, and 2 other strong riders going with him. Correa again just moves up, looks behind. Handful of seconds as a couple of the motorbikes are called out of that gap by the commissars, so it must be building. There is Lake Taihu behind, just behind that greenery you can see at the base of the shot. And Mats Alder of United States is giving his all there, head down, aero position, and try to keep this 50-second gap to the peloton. Well, a few obstacles just on the side of the road being pointed out there by those riders at the front. Pretty clear they're all riding together in groups here, looking after each other. Safety and security a priority. And the chase isn't really on so much. You can just see, we can laugh and joke, talk about food. In fact, that is Matteo Drapperi, who's gone off to get a little bit of food. Pulls off the left-hand side. So important over these early days to make sure that everybody's fed and hydrated correctly. They're still early starts compared to what a lot of these riders are used to. So this is the group out front: Mats of United States, Polczak of Slovakia, and Correa from Mexico. And behind, it's one concerted effort to try and keep up by Maciej Strupek. It looks as though the other 2 riders have given up. Feldman and Woods. 55 seconds, so they've added another 5 seconds in. Remember, there's one more intermediate sprint remaining. Bonus seconds, points, and that all-important combativity award as well. Most aggressive rider, I think, would be the best translation in English. A good day yesterday for Attack Gusto with that 4th place from Luke Parker. I'm sure he'll be happy to have a go again. What will Novo Nordisk spell to pull out? A team that are carrying their message around the world, by the way. Changing diabetes is their new message. Want to demonstrate that everything's possible. Elite sport can still be carried out. Diabetes not a barrier to elite competition. We can see from the rhythm of the peloton behind, or the lack of rhythm, as I was just talking about, in fact, that Villiers Southeast aren't too worried about the orange jersey at the moment. Of course, I think they know, they must know, they're realistic, that if Marichko does take it today, courtesy of bonus seconds on the line, 10 bonus seconds for finishing first, 6 for finishing seconds. In fact, he's currently 6 seconds behind, so first to second should be good enough for him. But they know that they'll lose it tomorrow anyway. Hence, they're not going to push on to try and take this last sprint. They're not going to push on to try and give Marichko just a little bit of an extra chance. I mean, if they were to take, hypothetically, this last sprint, oh dear, we don't need to see that. Comfort break there from one of the riders behind. In fact, it's the rider that's been dropped from the breakaway, Maciej Strupek. We'll move on, shall we? What were we talking about? There we go. 55 seconds. Villiers Southeast not really chasing on too heavy. And that's because with the sprint number 3 coming up in 1 kilometre, they're not too worried about those bonus 3 seconds. Marichko, though, will go into orange if he wins the stage today and should go into orange if he comes second. All depends on what happens. Various permutations. I think Alexander Golovash and Mint Cycling Club are riding with the hope that Marichko might just not get up there into the top two today. Otherwise, I think they'll be just happy to do their bit and leave the rest to fate. So, intermediate sprint number 3 coming up. Who's going to take this? Oh, well, they are going to fight for it. René Correia wants it. He's been beaten to the last 2 after leading them out. This time I think he's going to get it fairly easily. Looks behind. Correia heading up to it, and across he goes. And nobody's really going to get near him, surely. It's a good effort from Alder there. And you can see that sprint, the line across the road. I think he's just going to get it, is he? Oh, well, a little closer than we thought it might have been. And I have a feeling, you know, that's gone to Mats Alder. Well, a little bit of excitement for the day. That's sort of what we needed, really. Mats Alder, in fact, does take it. Correia in second place, Paltzak in third. Intermediate sprint number 3 throws up the first bit of excitement of the day. René Correia will not be happy. He's gone for 3, he's missed 3. Oh, 3 points for him and 2 bonus seconds. Congratulations to Martins of United States of America of Attack Team Gusto. 3 bonus seconds and those points, and Correia still shaking his head as he goes across the bridge. Last prize of the day is gone. It's all about just staying out for as long as possible now. 55 seconds is the gap. 3 sprints of the day done. We're approaching the final 40 kilometres. Last prize, the big final sprint to the line, coming up in about 40 k's time. Well, heading to Huzhou today, on the shores of Lake Tai. Wuxing Tourist Resort in the Huzhou metropolitan area. Huzhou is the capital of this particular region. Wuxing is where a lot of people seem to come on their holidays. Beautiful tradition blended with the geography as well. We talked about the tea culture, the silk culture, and that motto, blue waters and green hills, are of great value. Well, the images speak for themselves. One of the quieter areas of Jiangsu
Jacopo
province.
Marezco, Villiers Sautis, sono contento di essere qui al Taihu Lake per questo tour.
So the break settled down again with 42.5 kilometres to go. I said it before, water everywhere you look around here. In the meantime, the rest of the break's been absorbed. Still the rhythm not too high, riders able to stop for comfort breaks and go back to the cars. I think if this break continues to be held at this particular margin, around 55 seconds or so, then they will not be worried whatsoever. There is plenty of time to claw them back. Only 3 riders as well now, and you imagine that last sprint tie them out a little. The worry for the sprint teams really is if this comes back together a little too soon. If it does, we might see a few more attacks going. That can be harder to control towards the end of the race, where everybody is relatively fresh. We've had a short prologue so far in this race. After that, remember, a very short first stage, 111 kilometres yesterday. Today still down at only 139. People with freshish legs around. And that rain menacing and threatening again. The visibility not great out to Lake Tai. They will hit a U-turn very, very soon, by the way. And now, look what's changed. This is interesting. Villiers Southeast suddenly have something to contend with. We talked about possibility of the attacks, and they are riding. Funvic Seoul, Brazilian team to the front. And that is one way maybe to put Jakub Mareczko under pressure, perhaps not content with the fact that they know that Jakub Mareczko and the rest of the Villiers team are in trouble. I wonder if the wind's blowing a little out there. If the wind does start to blow, and Funvic can get away, take a few riders with them, that could cause a few problems for Villiers. Again, you can just see the leaves of the trees waving a little bit. And that Funvic Seoul Cycles team, one of the 5 professional continental teams, they're on the UCI Americas tour, not able to get too much of a gap, but look where the green jersey is, halfway back down through the peloton, Villiers Southeast. I think it might be done and dusted now with that acceleration for these guys out front. Carl's going to be taken in front in just a minute's time.
Altna van Engelen of Parkhotel Valkenburg cycling team. It's definitely great to be here at Lake Taihu cycling tour.
A bit of action at the Tour of Taihu Lake. Not sure the wind's blowing too hard out there, but riding as if there were crosswinds out there is the Funvic Seoul team from Brazil. They've had Alex Denis up there as well, Gabriel Machado. They've got some strong riders from South America. In the meantime, the last intermediate sprint happened, and when René Correia attacked, I think he thought that the finish line might have been a little closer than it was. Had to save something, and look at the rider at the back there. Mats Alder, riding for Attack Team Gusto, on the wheel of rider number 71, Palchak. Make sure he got into that slipstream again. And just as they went across the line, out-sprinting Correia and taking those intermediate sprint points and bonus seconds. Now, once that happened, behind, there was a bit of movement as well as we get confirmation of the results. 5-3 and 1 point for Mats Correia and Palchak. Funvic Seoul Cycles putting the pressure on at the front. Again, you would have expected there to be crosswinds if that was about to happen. Villiers Southeast not really reacting, because you could see that Jakub Mareczko was way down. I think Funvic might have just been bullied out of that there. Very, very strange move for that to happen at that time. Tried to get away, tried to move on. I think that Villiers have come to the front and maybe bullied them out of that move. A very, very strange one, because the wind really wasn't blowing across. Yesterday their top rider was Murilo Ferraz of Brazil, 14 seconds down, not even in contention for the sprint. Oh, well, we'll just monitor that to keep it going. In the meantime, it's all bunched up again, 1 minute 25. I wonder if words have been had, like I said. Just say, 40k's to go, guys, here, come on. It is in the peloton's interest, and any sprinter's interest, for this breakaway to be left to die a very slow death out there. As far as Funvic are concerned, well, if they're not confident in the sprint, that's another matter. It's their right to attack the race. It's their right to try and put Jakub Mareczko's team under pressure. But that being done, well, there didn't seem any terrain with which to do that. Anyway, answers on a postcard, eh? Mats, Palchak and Correia up the front. Correia with that really upright style of his. Not the most aero of riders. Mats Alder's looked good on his bike though. There's Lake Taihu on the right hand side. There are many canals and rivers that feed into it. You can see across the green wetlands. And it is Villiers who've taken the mantle up of riding at the front. It's a Monday, but that hasn't deterred people coming to the side of the roads. A much less densely populated area than the one we've ridden through for the last couple of days. Wuxi with its millions and millions of inhabitants. In fact, the whole of the Huzhou region, there's just less than 3 million people. As we see the race leader, Alexander Golovash, Will he have that orange jersey tomorrow? That's the question. The answer that Villiers hoping to come up with is a big fat no. Well, a few different teams starting to help out with the chase in the front. In the meantime, that fisherman's getting a rather rare view. Better get used to it soon anyway, because this is the 7th edition of the race. It seems to be going from strength to strength. Certainly with a varied parkour this year. First demonstration of that will be in 24 hours' time. Mountain stage coming up. So the road is being closed on the opposite side. We're going to have that U-turn coming up pretty soon. And then the ride back into the finish at Wuxing. Heading up to the Sheraton Moon Bay Hotel, where we've got the finish. So after that attack from behind from Thunvik, these three have been given a bit of a reprieve. Tag team Gusto there in the orange, who had Cameron Bailey up there on the prologue as the pace is up behind. A little bit of wind again. Just to see if we can spot any of the teams attacking. There is the green jersey, Jakub Mareczko, being kept a little closer to the front this time. They don't want to miss out on one of those moves again. General classification team of St George Merida as well, keeping their leader towards the front. So perhaps people a little bit wary of another move in the crosswinds. It does seem to be blowing rather intermittently and not particularly strong, but fair play to Thunvik last time for giving it a go. Southeast will have to be very vigilant. Just an indication of how the wind's blowing. If you just look at the ticker tape we've gone past on the right side, also hair of the rider right in the centre there, Martsalda. It does seem to have started blowing out of nowhere. It was very, very calm at the start of the day. Numbers flickering on the back of number 71, Josef Palchak, and the weather actually was due to change at about 2 o'clock local time this afternoon. Rain begin, so a bit of wind would be consistent with that. In the meantime, the gap at 110, but when we're talking about this wind, it's not exactly the North Sea stuff we're used to seeing in Netherlands either, is it? Meantime, just under 40k still to go.
Hi, I'm Shinichi Fukushima, the team manager of the Nippo Vini Fantini. And this is a third race in China this year, and we try to hope, win the stages.
Peloton starting to string out in one long line to the front. Direction slightly changing, wind slightly changing. A few riders try to take advantage of that. Villiers Southeast caught out initially, making sure that will not be the case again. Green jersey being kept nice and safe. St George Merida wanted to look after young Jay Dutton as well. He's their man for the climb tomorrow. Back with the breakaway. Correa just riding. It's a funny old thing being in the break. basically hurting yourself. Learning to deal with the pain. Well, in the meantime, someone's been watching the Tour de France, haven't they? Trying to live with the sculptures. It's not a bad effort, that. That as the director sportif comes up to have a word with René Correia. We've had goats, gorillas, sheep and elephants now. Big pumpkins as well, I'm told. Must have missed those a little earlier on. Artistic farmers in this part of the world. Lovely to see. So the gap's up at 105. Again, the peloton strung out a little further. It doesn't look like they're struggling to hold the wheels at the back though, so the pace nothing ridiculous. Might even have a little bit of time to admire what's on the side of the road there. Anybody of an artistic persuasion? Southeast starting to get a little bit of help from Tabriz Petrochemical team. Thinking of tomorrow, making sure that their riders are not out of position. Do not lose time before we get to the mountains.
My name's Jay Dudden. I'm from the Australian Continental Team St George Merida, and we're very excited to get underway with the 2016 Taihu Lake.
Welcome back to the Tour of Taihu Lake. 34.2 kilometres to go. A gap at 1 minute from breakaway to peloton. Seen a couple of strange goings on with a crosswind style attack from Funvik Sol, the Brazilian team. Didn't seem to be too much wind about. A little bit of a breeze. Fair play to them for trying. It was quickly shut down by Villiers Southeast, who decided to make sure that Jakub Mareczko was kept close to the front in his green points jersey. Taking no chances and probably serving as a timely reminder of what can happen. You can also see too, a few of the teams worrying about overall general classification have decided to get their riders close to the front. It was Grand Tour style riding there with Jay Dutton, the Australian climber from St George Merida in the pink and black, being kept safe by his team. And the Iranian team, Tabriz Petrochemical, helping to put the pace on at the front. They're thinking of the climb in 24 hours time too. First ever mountain stage in this race's 7-year history. The gradient isn't too steep. It's not ridiculously difficult in terms of it being just 4 or 5%. However, it is a long climb, so if you're able to get a bit of a mountain train together, work hard, continue to set the pace, sprinters should be put into difficulty. One thing we're promised is that it is spectacularly scenic. If you're just tuning in, reminder of who's in the break. Man on your screen is Marts Alder. He rides for Attack Team Gusto in the yellow, black and white. 163, second wheel is René Correia of Mexico. He's in the Start Vax's team in the blue and black. And at the back here, wearing number 71, Josef Palčák, riding for Dukla Banska Bystrica of Slovakia. Chasing down Villiers Southeast, riding for Jakub Mareczko, winner of stage 1 and winner of the overall general classification 12 months ago. Being helped out by Tabriz Petrochemical team. And there is Mareczko in the green jersey alongside Zhao Jingbiao, the best Chinese rider. He's in the red jersey there. Just 9 seconds back in the overall general classification, Zhao. Things seem to have calmed down a little again in the peloton. Sense of order restored. Those riders who need protecting being protected. And the gap down to 50 seconds. Number 42 doing the riding is Matteo Draperi. Both he and the rider in third position there, again with the fluorescent sleeves. Grey and red kit. So it's a multicoloured kit really from Villa Triestina Southeast. That's Mirko Tedeschi. Tedeschi did the lion's share of the work 24 hours ago, pardon me. He lost a minute and 16 seconds. And the break remains the same. It started off as 7 during the day. With them at the start of the day were Nicholas Woods of St George Merida, Denis Kanepis, who won the first 2 intermediate sprints of Rietmu Delfin, Latvian team. Milan Veltman was there as well, riding for Park Hotel Valkenberg. And Matthias Strupek of Dukla Praha. The 3 last survivors, remember, most aggressive rider prize available at the end of the day. Well, gap is relayed to them straight away. 55 seconds. They also have race radio here, these riders. Race radio returned for this level of racing last year, and that U-turn coming up. In the meantime, it's time to stay full of energy. Remember, early breakfast for these riders. Something they're not particularly used to. 9:25 AM start. It's good to see them working as a team. The only chance they have of surviving. They should survive at least until that big U-turn we've been talking about coming up in the next couple of kilometres. The final 30k to the line. Flat as a pancake, by the way, from here to the finish line. Riders will have seen most of this road already in the opposite direction. The wind does blow. It'll be a little more immediate because they'll be that bit closer to the lake by just a few metres. It's nice to take a look at the more rural areas, the towns and villages rather than the cities. Smaller houses. We've seen farming, those wonderful farmers' sculptures we saw 10 minutes back. Must be a cycling fan, I'm sure they'll be watching the tour and trying to compete with those big windmill structures we see in the farmers' fields in southern France. Commissar's car staying fairly close. Once that gap, by the way, gets under around 30 seconds, all of the motorbikes and cars will be pulled out of that gap between the breakaway and the peloton. Allow the catch to take place. Safe for everybody then. Riders and vehicles alike. Back in the peloton, the Villa Southeast have decided just to take it easy again. You can see riders across the road, it's bunched up. They do not want to catch them in the break just yet. Park Hotel Valkenberg moving up. And it is Tabriz Petrochemical team of Iran just doing their fair share of work on the front. I think it's going to be a particularly fast finish today. So into the last 30 kilometres now. St George Merida at the front. now that they no longer have a presence in the breakaway, able to do a bit of chasing. All smiles from Villiers after that brief moment of panic not so long ago. You see the flags not waving too hard, almost limp in the breeze rather than the wind, really, blowing off the land to the lake in any direction. But nothing to worry about. Not really enough, I think. We've already seen it proved with that early move. You can tell the U-turn's coming up though, because Villiers Southeast are making sure that the front here don't want to be caught napping. Jakub Mareczko will be protected. And here it is. Race car's just ahead. You can see the base of that shot. Just a couple of 100 metres, the breakaway will take it on. The peloton about 1 minute and 5 back. Again, they do not want to catch these riders too early and allow other teams to start attacking. Peloton's interest to stretch it out and up the pace a little bit to keep it safe for everybody though. Oh, enough in a 3-rider group there. Oh, blending tears if they go too slow. Mark Salder, Jan Paltsak and René Correia about to pass those chasing them. Well, all very, very slow and bunched together. Peloton of 130 out there. Plenty of inexperienced riders as well, 40 in the youth classification. Oh, we've had a crash, riders down. And we knew that could happen. We knew that could happen. Too slow, all bunched together, coming up to that U-turn. People chatting to their mates, just too easy, not enough intensity at the minute. And that is always a possibility, I'm afraid. So riders down. Looks as though most were getting up okay and back on their bikes. One of the problems, though, for a couple of the riders from the leaders team, Minsk Cycling, a couple of the Dukla Praha riders down as well, and it looks as though it's their sprinting, just turning around saying, come on, knock off the pace, guys, knock off the pace. And it's exactly what they're doing, to be fair, in the peloton. Nobody is going to be putting the pace on at the front, but I'm afraid the fact that it wasn't quick caused the problem in the first place. This has been too easy for those riders out there today. Rider with the problems looks to be number 192, Andrei Veldjoski. Simin Adamek, who was the sprinter yesterday, involved as well. Very important riders for the lead out, also for the overall general classification. And you can just see at the front, pace has been knocked off. 2:05 there involved. Waiting for mechanical assistance is Artur Sventkov of Team Lufshan Landscape. He's in the green jersey. This is how it happened again. Little bit of movement coming up to that U-turn. Look, everybody slowing down. Oh, and they weren't ready for the cones that came up to narrow it. We knew that it had to be quicker there. That is a combination of bad planning, I think, by organisers and not particularly clever riding by those at the front. Probably a little bit more of the latter. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Now you could just see the rider from Minsk. Still mechanical assistance going on. It's going to be a big chase on now for Artur Svetkov because they've waited for most of the riders. I doubt they'll be waiting too much for him. Villiers trying to put the pace on. Start team trying to keep their leaders safe in the meantime. So just over 25 k's to go on stage 2.
Hello, I am René Correia. I'm a rider for Starbucks Partisan. And we're here at Lake Taihu to try to win some races, right?
Well, order re-established at the front of the group after a crash just a couple of kilometres further back. 1 minute and 5 to a breakaway of 3 riders up the front. But you could see the crash coming. Those easy afternoons when you know there's a sprint coming up. Just chatting away in the peloton, all it takes is a touch of wheels. It looks as though everybody's okay, but there'll be a few bumps and grazes that weren't particularly necessary there. "25 kilometres still to the finish of this stage. It's running a little slow. On the shores of Lake Taihu, heading up to the Wuxing Tourist Resort in Huzhou. Huzhou regional capital. And that's it, a little bit more strung out now. Villiers do not want to lose control here. Yes, the gap's at 1 minute. Start Vaxes. Interesting to see if they're going to contribute, because are they going to chase down their own man here? If they do, it's a little bit bizarre. They still have René Correia in the break. Surely they're not going to hit the front and chase down their own man. That is, unless they want to come down towards the front and make it a little bit harder. Just knock off the pace, try and interrupt things. I think they'll be told to get out the way rather quickly by Villiers and Nippo Vinifantini. Still going to be Draperi at the front, Tedeschi just behind him, Yamamoto from Nippo Vinifantini. And these are the 3 men who survived for a little longer than perhaps they thought they might do. Certainly wants to get game down the break pond. He came down to 3 riders, so it was 7. Gap at 1 minute is still very, very manageable with 24.5 kilometres to go. Green jersey looking nicely protected there, Jakub Manichko. 24 kilometres still to go.
Altna van Engelen of Park Hotel Valkenburg cycling team. It's definitely great to be here at Lake Taihu cycling tour.
Huzhou has a rich tea and silk tradition. Situated right in the centre of the Yangtze River Delta, it is a very old, populated area. 7,000 years there's been a settlement here. The lake's played a big part in that. Fish, the dish and speciality of the region, known for its cuisine and its tradition. One of the lesser populated areas of the region, just under 3 million people, now a home to holiday resorts, with sport playing a central part. Just over 23 kilometres still to go on stage 2 of the Tour of Taihu Lake. Breakers just about survived. 50 seconds they have. Let's tell you who's in it. Mats Alder of Attack Team Gusto in the yellow. In the green there, number 71, Josef Palczak. And the man we saw on stage 1, again in the break on day 2. He comes from Start Vax's Partizan cycling team from Serbia, the team from Eastern Europe with a Latin American heart, and it's René Correia of Mexico. There's the man who's the favourite for today. In the green jersey, Jakub Manichko, winner of stage 1, winner overall 12 months ago. He survived a little bit of a crash in the peloton about 10 kilometres back. Nothing too sinister, just riders having a sleepy, easy afternoon. Pardon me, morning. Still 12:25 local time here in China. Manichko got away with that, managed to stay on his bike. but problems for several riders, most of them back onto the peloton. Mareczko now has to think about his team doing the job of chasing. That as Jochen Sobal is looking after the orange leader's jersey for Minsk Cycling Club of Alexander Golovash. Now, if Mareczko wins today, he should be swapping his green jersey for orange, as Correia, Polchak and Alder are reminded that they are 50 seconds ahead with 22.2 kilometers to go. That goes down to 45. It's pan flat on the run-in. Nice wide straight roads as well. There is no excuse for the sprinters teams today. If you're tuning in late, we had one little bit of drama where the Funvik Sol Cycles team from Brazil tried to play with a bit of breeze that we had, almost crosswind-like. It was blowing across the road, but just not strong enough. They're the team on the right-hand side, and there's this fight just to be at the front. Orange jersey making sure he is there just in case. You can see Adna van Engelen on the centre of the shot in the green jersey from Park Hotel Valkenberg. He, being a Dutchman, will be very aware of what crosswinds can do. But he's a climber himself, wants to be aware and be ready if another team knocks it on again. Remember, no use doing all the work on the climb tomorrow if you lose seconds in the crosswinds. 35 seconds, and that little bit of nervousness in the peloton, everybody wanted to be at the front now, is reducing the gap. 21 kilometers still to go. Genki Yamamoto doing the work for Nippo Vini Fantini. One of the bigger teams at this race. The Tabriz Petrochemical team are one of the giant teams of the UCI Asia Tour. They're on the right-hand side in the white jerseys. Blue helmets for them. That's the orange jersey in the centre of the shot. Race leader Alexander Golovash being kept nice and safe. They can see the breakaway up ahead on this straight road. So it's that carrot dangling front able to chase. In the meantime, for Mats Adler, it's a thankless task being in that breakaway. They know that they will be caught. There is no chance they'll stay away today. Peloton don't want to catch them just yet. And there's all this fighting for position at the front that will accelerate that, but they also know that if they hang about, mess about, take it too easy, there's another risk of a touch of wheels and a crash again. What do you do? Here comes the Chinese team, Wisdom Hengsheng. They currently have the best Chinese rider jersey. That's Zhao Jingbiao. Wang Meiyin, their team leader, by the way, is just signed for what we expect to be a World Tour team next year. So that's quite a jump from continental to World Tour level. Bahrain Merida, not confirmed that they will be indeed World Tour. It's because the UCI have been rather late in making their decisions this year. But it is all pointing to Bahrain being awarded that World Tour license. Now attack out of the breakaway, trying to keep it going. This is for the most aggressive rider prize. Josef Palchak has been there. I think Mats Alder's the man who's going to lose out here from attack gusto in the orange jersey. René Correia has lost intermediate sprints today. He wants that most aggressive rider prize. Hung onto the wheel really well of Palchak when he went there, and he's now putting distance into him. Problem for Correia is that if he goes along, he's not going to survive too long on his own. Inside the final 20 kilometres. For Mats Alder, I think it's over. Polchak knows that. Correia waits again. Maybe there's just nothing left in the tank. Handshake, we're going together, that's it, we've done. Well. Movement from behind, Nippo Vini Fantini en masse to the front. And again, I wonder if those winds are just playing havoc. They thought about giving up here, they shook hands. Correia through the centre. Again trying to put the pace on. Now then, was that a handshake to say, whatever happens, well done anyway, I might not see you at the end? It looked as though they were giving up, but Correia has put the pace on again. Oh, it might have been a quiet day, but at least someone's entertaining us out there. 19 kilometers to go. And Correa in the blue jersey attacking Palchak just after there was a friendly peace handshake. Oh, you see all sorts on the road. Good to see. He's quite a character anyway, Correa. Lucky enough to meet him the other day, and he was one of the more vocal characters at the media day prior to the race. He promised he'd be in breakaways, and we've seen him in 2 so far. Martalda's been in today's breakaway. In the meantime, Nippo Fantini bringing riders to the front. Now in this current, guys, this is a strange ride because all they're doing is helping Villiers Southeast with the catch and the race. And there's no need to catch these riders yet. There's still 18 kilometers to go. Is there another plan here? Is there something we don't quite know about? We know the wind has been blowing, but it wasn't hard enough at the first section when we saw it to make a difference. Funvik tried that. Had about a 50-meter gap, but was soon reeled in again, even though Jakub Mareczko and Villiers Southeast were caught out with their riders halfway down the peloton. Situation in the peloton again. I think Nippo Fantini knocking it off. Wise to do so. They've got their riders up there. Marini just in front of Mareczko in the green jersey. And René Correa, I think, is going to be awarded the most aggressive rider of the day. Usually goes to the riders last to be caught. Knows he has to stay in front of Palchak for that to happen. Palchak, though, look at that. Left-hand side. Right behind the motorbike. Bit of motor pacing. In fact, no, it's a different green jersey. It seemed Lushan Landscape trying to attack the race late on, using that television motorbike rather cleverly. And that motorbike being pulled over to one side. The commissars won't take kindly to that. 17 kilometers to go in the meantime. Oh, 17 kilometers to go. Correa still out there. Orange leader's jersey, Alexander Golovash, has been put into the right place by his team. Standing, waiting. Nice and protected. I can tell you there's news from the finish line, by the way. The rain is starting to fall. A few spots on the road. And if it is greasy and slippy conditions on the way in, then that could pose a problem for the sprinters. Really seen one crash too many today. Still Draperi at the front for the Italian team Villiers. Still Correa at the front of proceedings altogether. Flick of the arm there as Villiers and Nippo continue to share chase duties. So Correa has company. He's brought Palchak back into the game as well. This is a good ride. Well, we saw an attack from Vitaly Popkov 24 hours ago. Looks to be the same rider. Strong time trialist. Looking to try and take his own chances, and that's just going to mean that the fact that he's come out here at this particular stage in the race as tradition meets modernity. But the chase is still going to be on. It is Popkov on the right hand side in the green jersey. Correa can't come through and do the turn despite the fact that the elbow's been flicked by Vitaly Popkov. He wants help here, but Correa has emptied the reserves on the road. He's gone for it today. just as he did 24 hours ago. Next rider to be caught, by the way, will be Josef Palčák, pardon me. Josef Palčák of Dukla Banska Bystrica, Slovakian team. Started the day 35 seconds down. Vitaly Popkov is at 14 seconds, by the way. So he's also a bit of a danger to Alexander Golovash as well. So if this move were to gain some sort of unlikely traction, you would expect to see Minsk Cycling Club joining the chase. As I speak to you, the rain is coming down a little bit more intensely at the finish line right now. Again, we don't have too many twists and turns on the way, and it shouldn't complicate things too much. Correa, in the meantime, is struggling just to hold the wheel from Popkov. It is one man versus the entire peloton right now. 14.4 Ks to go. The race sort of needs it because it's been a slow day today. Vitaly Popkov 2:02. The elbow doesn't work. This time trying to bully Correa to the front. Correa rather angrily responding. Saying, well, I've been doing this work all day while you've been chatting to your mates. You see the gritted teeth behind it. It's so hard just to hold the wheel. Popkov going left and right, try to coach Correa to the front. Oh, he's not happy. Well, cycling's also about politics as well. If you can't negotiate your way, if you can't make peace at the front, you're never going to get on. Some days you need favours. Most days you need help. And a breakaway with just one rider riding on his own is never going to survive. Correa saying, you what? Why should I ride? You're the one that's just attacked. Correa telling Popkov that he should be dropping him. You just ride, he says. Keep your eyes on the road. He's an angry old soul, Mr. Vitaly Popkov. Oh, we'll have another try. Don't think this is going to last between you and I. Correa carries on riding. So does Yamamoto. Good ride from Nippo Vini Fantini. Correa will get his combativity prize, his most aggressive rider's prize. Popkov has given up. Of course he needed help if he was going to survive, but you really can't blame Correa for not riding with him. Little or no chance of keeping it going to the end. Needed a couple of fresh riders and something rather disastrous to happen behind in the peloton. Certainly in Nippo's interest to help ride with Villa, pardon me. They have to be confident against Jakub Maričko. They know that Maričko is one of the most talented young Italian sprinters, one of the most talented young sprinters in the world, given the fact that he was a bronze medalist at the Under-23 World Championships. But they have to believe in their man who took second place yesterday, Nicola Marini, or whoever it is they send out to contest the sprint. We do expect it's going to be Marini again because Daniele Colli is up there in the front 10 riders, taking out a bit of wind. Twelve and a half kilometres to go. A bit of order restored and a bit of calm before the storm of the sprint. And the rain's starting to fall a little heavy. You can just see the rain cloud up ahead. Spots on the camera lens as well. There are many people taking shelter here at the finish line. Wet roads on the way in for the last 10 kilometres or so. The last gel, the last bit of energy. It's taken on by the former Latvian champion, Sliepens. Popkov back to the front. Now, can these two make friends? It's just a question of 5 seconds or so, their lead. Well, René Correa actually writes a blog if you're a Spanish speaker and interested in reading. It's on the website Ciclismo Internacional, South American cycling website. And it's the Central American rider who writes for them, and I'm sure there'll be an interesting entry or two after that little exchange with Vitaly Popkov, and Popkov goes again. Correa might have a more difficult job this time to hold the wheel. There was a funny bit of a gear change there from Popkov as he tried to shove it into the big ring. Correa for the minute is hanging on, just about in the slipstream. Can he put distance between himself and the peloton? He's probably actually doing the peloton a bit of a favour at the moment, Popkov. Keeping their pace going, having the sprinters keep their legs warm, and making sure that they've got something to chase. Otherwise, last 10 Ks or so can all become a little too messy if nobody wants to do all the work. We have situations like we saw around 20 kilometres back when we had the crash. Nobody wants to do the work, it ends up going unnecessarily too slow. Riders moving up on the left-hand side all the time. Approach the last 10 kilometres. Positioning starts to become more important. There it is, 10 Ks to go. Trapari in the meantime radioing in all the way back to the car for Villa Triestina South. He's chatting with the director sportif Luca Amoriello. Just talking about plans for Jakub Mareczko. He's way down in the peloton at the moment, being kept safe. But if anything happens, he could be in trouble. Interesting when they'll think about moving up. So 10 kilometres to go, and it's raining at the finish. Vitaly Popkov left out there on his own. René Correa out there in the break all day is about to be caught. Popkov serving as something nice to chase at the minute for the peloton. Has slowed down today, it's been rather bitty. There's the man in the best young riders jersey at the moment, Timur Maleev, although that position in the actual classification is occupied by Jakub Mareczko. Mareczko, who will be hoping to end day 3, stage 2 proper, as the leader in the orange jersey. More importantly than that is the stage win, but stage win will bring a lead for him. And there's no sign of the rain abating. 86 there, popping up on your screen is Reda Tobon Jefferson. He rides for Jilin, one of the Chinese teams. And there is Correa being caught. So another good day for Start Vaxis Partizan. Time for him to just hang on and try and rest up in the peloton. This is the leader, Vitaly Popkov. He's in a world of pain right now, pretty sure, the Russian. He was good at hurting himself towards the end yesterday. Wasn't so good at keeping his lead, but he can be forgiven. He's up against 129 other riders. So 8.3 kilometres to go. Minsk Cycling Club are joining the chase. So are they going to give it a go here? Alexander Golovash has his work cut out if he's to contest things in the sprint. He is the current race leader in the orange jersey, 4th wheel. Jakub Mareczko is the man we expect to be the favourite. Nicola Marini, 2nd yesterday. Remember, 3rd was Marco Zanotti of Park Hotel Falkenberg. Up there too, Luke Parker, just some of the many candidates. Well, a few riders already being dropped out the back. The lights are on as well as the atmosphere gets darker and the rain continues to fall. Oof, doesn't bode well for the mountains tomorrow, does it? 20 seconds in the meantime now, we're being told, for Vitaly Popkov. There is a bit of work to be done. Popkov, the Russian, riding for Lufshan Landscape. Started the day at 14 seconds from the overall general classification. So he is the virtual leader on the road in the orange jersey right now, but a lot of things need to fall into place for that to be the case at the finish line. Just as we said might happen, the fact that he goes in the front just requires Minsk to do a bit of the work as well. So that is helping, really, in terms of Nippo and Villiers' chase. Here come Funvik Seoul as well. Bit of a disappointment in the sprint for them yesterday. Not able to put a riser in the top 10. They're there in their orange and white jerseys, however. There they are on the right-hand side with the Brazilian flag on the right sleeve. And Marichko is now being brought up inside the final 7 kilometres. See Nippo Vini Fantini very close to the left-hand side, but it's all about the orange jersey doing a lot of the chasing right now. Gap at 20 seconds. He's holding this off fairly well. Again, at this stage, we won't talk too soon. I don't think we should be giving him anywhere near a chance just yet. But 23, it starts to grow. It just means that 2 or 3 different teams are going to have to start working together here. And it would be a gross miscalculation if they were to let this go. Such an easy day it's been for the peloton, and as we saw with the crash, sometimes it can just be too easy. Still, with a few different teams smelling an opportunity, we can see 3-4 different trains across the road here. Villiers on the right-hand side. In the centre you see the leader himself. Just gives you an indication of what the plan is for Minsk. They're not thinking about the jersey now, they're thinking about the sprint. If the leader in the orange jersey is doing the work, that means there is a sprint that they are thinking about with a different sprinter. So they are resigned to the fact that the orange jersey may well be lost today. 23 seconds. Novo Nordisk were moving up. I wonder how Martin Verschoor can get on today. The young rider Quentin Valogne up there too, not too far away. Big thick-legged track-style rider. In the meantime, 5.5 kilometers to go. It is still the Russian star Vitaly Popkov, the time trialist, holding off the peloton. You see those weather conditions deteriorating a little. He knows that they're approaching now, and the gap's been obliterated. 10 seconds, no more. This is going to come back together. So no error from the sprint teams. Again, that would have to have been something rather catastrophic. Just one right-hand turn coming up, and then it's a straightish run into the finish line. Into the final 5k then. Good to see Dukla Praha in the black jerseys with the yellow and red sleeves and shorts, moving up on the right hand side. A lot of movement left and right, and with the slippy surface, a few riders being kicked out the back, perhaps not able to live with the 5 big professional continental teams as it comes up to the sprint, or simply just say, no, I don't want to be involved in any of that, I'm happy to lose time, I go. Here comes Villiers southeast through the centre, and this is where the train begins now. 4.4 kilometres to go. You will see 4th at the back, right in the centre of the shot, green jersey with a white panel. That is Jakub Marichko, the big favourite for the sprint here. You can see Funvik with their sprinter at the back as well. Park Hotel far behind. In fact, they've just got one rider in there. He's right on the wheel of Jakub Mareczko, and that's their sprinter Marco Zanotti. They do have Massimo Graziato as a possible lead out. He did the job yesterday. But the way things are, chaotic nature of what's been happening, you would expect him just to be looking for that wheel. Head of the race then. Popkov has been wheeled in already. Team Novo Nordisk with Valanche, the rider we mentioned there. Big thick leg sprinter on the right hand side in the white jersey. Young rider from France, Quentin Valanche. Oh, and we've had the orange jersey down. Orange jersey down, and he is more than 3 kilometers to the finish. So we will have, whatever happens, a new leader today. Whatever happens, Golovash down and will not be in the orange jersey. Oh, what a way to lose it. Down with him as well is Matthias Strupek, who was in the break earlier on today. Oh, I'm not quite sure how that's happened, but looking at the cones on the road, I think I might have an idea. Zhao being brought to the front. That's interesting. Red jersey right at the back. A few people trying to upset things, and Jakub Mareczko a little isolated in the centre of the peloton there. This could be a little more complicated than Villa Triestina Southeast have realised, and that is heartbreak, because if you're new to watching cycling, if there is a crash on a sprint stage with less than 3 kilometres to go, everybody's times are neutralised and the leader would remain the leader, or at least would have had the same time as the group and would have stood a chance if Mareczko finished outside of the top two of keeping his orange jersey. As it stands, that crash, I don't think he's going to get back onto the peloton. It would be a superhuman ride to do that, as Mareczko on the left-hand side moves up, but he only has his lead-out man left. So, Villa Triestina, miscalculating slightly. They're just going to follow the wheels here. Don't expect to see them hit the front until around 800 to 600 metres to go. That's the plan anyway. It's Wang Meiyin doing work on the front now. A couple of riders from the Wisdom Hengshang cycling team radioing in. 2 kilometres to go. This could be a very, very interesting sprint. Look out for Roberto Pinedo da Silva. Second wheel in position already for Funvik Sol Cycles. He's the man that they're going to try and launch the sprint with. He has Carlos Alexandra Manarelli to try and do the work to lead him out. On the right-hand side, the team from Latvia, very good yesterday with Marits Bogdanovic in the top 10. They're moving up in the light blue jerseys on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, ISD there too. 81, ready to have a go from Hainan Jilung is Yuri Metlushenko. He's the rider on the left-hand side in the blue jersey. Look at this lead-out train here. Look at this lead-out train for Marits Bogdanovic. Yeah, Mareczko in the meantime in the green jersey, just risking maybe to be pushed and bullied out the way, but I think Fonzi's doing a fairly good job here. He has to fight for the wheels, has to drop Mareczko off at the right point with around 200 metres to go. If he can't get that far, has to drop him off on a good wheel to follow in the sprint. The question is, there's a lot of unknown riders here, even for Mareczko. Not used to racing against a lot of these guys. We're into the final kilometre now, and here he goes, hitting the front. Oh, and Fonzi's there. Mareczko has been boxed out. This is interesting. Boxed out the finish line, up ahead in the wheel. Mareczko has work to do. Oh, and this could be a bit of a disaster. Hitting the front himself, he's trying to find the wheel. Here is Mareczko hitting the front. Here goes Mareczko then to the wheel. Mareczko on the left-hand side in the green jersey. Oh, and he has it. Mareczko hitting the front just at the right time. And that sprint really did come quickly on them all. It looked as though he'd been boxed out, but Mareczko really had to fight for that wheel there. The Latvian squad en masse almost ambushing the Italian, but it is Jakub Mareczko who takes the win, second stage, and with it the lead of the Tour of Taihu Lake. So Jakub Mareczko in the green jersey, he'll be swapping that for orange in just a moment's time. Thumbs up, 2 out of 2. A job well done, but only just. Got a little bit chaotic after a slow day. Handshake with Zhao there. Zanotti coming through as well. It was all about Jakub Mareczko. Really put under pressure by Rietmu Delfin, the team from Latvia with Mariš Bogdanovic. And what happened? Dukla Praha already with the inquest. Well, they had a crash with about 3.5 kilometers to go. Riders coming in, drips and drabs. It's rainy, it's miserable at the finish line here in Wuxing. The headline of the day, though, Jakub Mareczko wins ahead of Emil Slipins and Nicola Marini, who finishes third.
Jakub Mareczko, Villiers Sautis, sono contento di essere qui al Taihu Lake per questo tour.
So this is the scene down at the Wuxi Fuju Tourist Resort. Jakub Mareczko has just won stage 2 of the Tour of Taihu Lake, beating Emil Slipins of Latvia. Nicola Marini from second into third for this second stage. Bogdanovic doing the lead out this time. He finished 4th with Pinheiro, the rider from Funvik, in 5th. Zhao finished 6th, so he maintains his position as the top Chinese rider. Demenchev 7, Pocker 8th, Metlushenko in 9th, and Ben Hill up in 10th place. Zanotti out of the top 10 this time, and Quentin Valogne up in 14th to Mansilla in 16th, the other name to note. So 3 hours and 8 minutes of riding. A very, very miserable rainy finish down here at the holiday resort. But Jakub Mareczko, under pressure at the last minute, surviving and making sure that he will be in the orange jersey. Heartbreak really for Alexander Golovash, who suffered a crash with 3.5 Ks to go. And it may be a rather spectacular area in terms of architecture and nature blended together. But it was nature and its bad weather that caused the chaos that almost made it too difficult for this man. Jakub Mareczko taking the win. And although he doesn't expect to be an orange at the end of the week, after good teamwork today, he should be an orange for stage 3 in 24 hours' time. So Villiers, Triestina Southeast, victorious yet again. And off to the podium he goes.
Podium, podium, Jakub, podium. Okay, yeah. Podium, yeah.
So he gets his marching orders. In the meantime, the broom wagon is across, so each and every rider who hasn't crossed yet is not left in the race. Well, he was favourite yet again, Jakub Mareczko. Able to pull things off. From the green, he will go into the orange.
My name's Jay Dudden. I'm from the Australian Continental Team St George Merida, and we're very excited to get underway with the 2016 Taihu Lake.
Stage 2 of the Tour of Taihu Lake 2016 finishes with another Jakub Mareczko victory. This time beating Lipins of Latvia. Marini in 3rd place, the Italian. Bogdanovic, the other Latvian, in 4th with Pinheiro, Zhao, Demenchev, Parker, Metlushenko and Hill, all rounding up the top 10 after just over 3 hours of racing. So Mareczko in the green jersey, he found it fairly difficult towards the end, really had to fight for his win, and he will swap green for orange. Mareczko is the new leader of the general classification. He will be 6 seconds ahead of Nicola Marini. Korami in 3rd place with Bailey in 4th. And guess what? Dropping out of the top 10 after his crash with 3.5 Ks to go, Alexander Golovash loses the leader's jersey. Well, Mareczko also comfortably leads the points classification. That's his aim for the end of the week here. He has no designs on the overall general classification, but he leads with 33 points, playing 22 of Marini in 2nd place. Zhao Jingbiao is still the best Chinese rider. Mei Young Wang finished in the group, and his teammate is 2nd. So Zhao wearing red yet again. And Jakub Mareczko, 7 seconds out of Kanepis, who took those bonus seconds from the sprints to lead the youth classification. He also owns blue. So it's going to be a busy time on the podium for Jakub Mareczko. He's the stage winner. He's in green. He's in blue, and he's also in orange as race leader. And this is how he did it. Looking in towards that final pot, well into the final few hundred meters here. Briefly lost the wheel. His lead-out man to the right-hand side going on his own. Mareczko coming off the wheel of the Latvian sprinters and making sure he was able to take the victory on his own. So it's all about judgment, all about following the right wheel. Fonzie did his best. Mareczko hit the front. And once that happens, as Tour of Taihu Lake history dictates, nobody gets past him. Not a bad sprint from Marini. Had to come from nowhere, really. Had no real lead out. Top stuff from Zhao too. The winner at the end of the day, though, yet again, Jakub Mareczko. So the rain continues to fall at the finish line after 2 stages here at the Sheraton Hotel in Huzhou. Preparations underway already for the circus to move on to the mountains for stage 3. And while we wait for the prize giving, with Jakub Mareczko again still on top of the podium. You can see that forecast bad weather has certainly arrived. Well, Mareczko's gone to prepare himself. Alexander Golovash will not be needed at the podium this time. That crash putting him out of the game. Managing to finish, but losing his lead in the overall general classification. And of course, that crash happening, well, just 500 meters out of that safety zone. Oh, it's a good lead out that was done really well by Rietmo Delfin. They're sprinted towards the back. Number 143, Emils Liepins. Jakub Mareczko obviously knew what he was doing. Chose which wheel to be on. Once his lead-out man hit the front, Andriato it was in this case, not Fonzie. There he went. Mareczko thought about going, but he picked his wheel. And once on that wheel, into the slipstream, sprinted from the left-hand side. Marini a little boxed in on the right. Also gaining towards the end. Mareczko holding well, Marini dying a slow death. And Jakub Mareczko taking the win. So Jakub Mareczko behind the podium. Sounds as though we're ready to hear from the winner of stage 2.
Jakub, another great win. How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm very happy because today I take the leader jersey. With this victory, I'm so happy.
At the end, it was slightly chaotic. There was lots of things going on. Talk us through that last kilometer and how you positioned yourself for the sprint.
Yeah, in the last position, I stay with all my team in the half of peloton, and in the final kilometers behind the last curve, we go in front to take it in the first position to take the sprint in front.
So tomorrow you'll be in orange, a great honour. You probably won't keep hold of it at the end, but it'll be a nice day for you to be in orange leader.
Yeah, tomorrow the stage isn't good for me because there is a climb in the 5 kilometers, but tomorrow I start with the yellow jersey.
Brilliant. Congratulations, Jakob. Many
you.
congratulations.
Jakub Mareczko then a very, very happy man. Doesn't expect to keep the jersey longer than one day, but he is the winner of stage 2 of the Tour of Taihu Lake 2016. Mareczko, the victor.
Hi, I'm Shinichi Fukushima, the team manager of the Nippo Vini Fantini. And this is a third race in China this year, and we try to hope, win the stages.
Well, the flags still continue to wave. The rain, I'm afraid, continues to fall. It's been that sort of afternoon, early afternoon here in the Wuxing Tourist Resort, very close to Huzhou. Right in the centre of the Yangtze River Delta in East China here. Spectacular hotels and architecture, as you can see, overlooking the podium. Podium is being readied as we speak, with Jakub Mareczko ready to receive his leader's jersey. Probably his last chance it was today to take that leader's jersey. Certainly unless there were some huge surprises over the course of tomorrow's stage. But he managed to do it. He's overcome and achieved all of his objectives so far. A good enough prologue to keep him in touch with the rest of the sprinters and a possibility to take that jersey. Bonus seconds yesterday, bonus seconds today. And of course, 2 victories out of 2 in the sprints. Well, he's been infallible so far. So Mareczko will wear the leader's jersey. Alexander Golovash will lose it. So Jakub Mareczko will receive his prize in a moment. Disappointment ever so slightly for Nicola Morini, losing a few points in the points classification. Bumped down into 3rd place, and the prize for the top leader was done by Rietmu Delfin. Oh, just to the right-hand side where those orange cabins are, that's where the podium's being prepared. Again, the rain complicating things and making it a little more difficult at the moment than it otherwise would be. And we'll be back in just a moment with that podium ceremony.
Adnan van Engelen of Parkhotel Valkenburg cycling team. It's definitely great to be here at Lake Taihu Cycling Tour.
Tour of Taihu Lake ends stage 2 under rainy conditions. Pretty murky and miserable skies, in fact, in Huzhou. We're at the Wuxing Tourist Resort. Plenty of people here on holiday, but it's certainly not sunbathing weather today. Jakub Mareczko has taken the win. And again, he's beaten Nicola Marini, who was 3rd this time. Sounds as though we're all ready to go here.
Nicola, another sprint not quite there today. How was the sprint for you?
Yeah, it was a strange sprint today. We didn't go as fast as yesterday, and there were too many people who wanted to sprint. My team did a great job to lead me out the peloton, and I tried to sprint at my best, but didn't feel very good. And I took a good 3rd place, and tomorrow will be difficult for us, but next day we will try to win a stage at least.
So tomorrow, because of the hill, is a slightly easier day for you, or you still have to keep riding?
No, it will be an easy day. I'm not a climber, so we'll take it easy.
Have you thinking of a plan for the later sprints to maybe get past Marechko and win a stage for yourself?
Yeah, we'll try in the next stages to win a stage. It's a lot that I don't race. I don't have the rhythm of the other that raced on October. And day by day I'm getting better, and yes, we will try for sure to win a stage.
And one last question for you. What's it like, the tour as a whole? Are you enjoying the whole tour, the whole experience?
Yeah, it's my first time here in Tour of Taihu Lake, and it's very well organized. They are amazing. The people are friendly, so yeah, we are enjoying it. We have still 5 stages, and yes, we like it.
Nicola, thank you very much, and best of luck. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, still smiling, still positive, despite not being able to win a stage yet, Nicola Marini. We also caught up with one of the dignitaries down, the director of the Huzhou Sports Bureau, Shen Baoshan.
台太公的自行车呢，我们已经举办了5届了。那么自行车运动呢，是我们一个很好的一个健身的方式，也是一个很好的生活方式。所以呢，我们希望呢，通过这种赛事的举办，能够呢为老百姓提供一个更好的一种健康的生活的方式，推动湖州的就是老百姓的全面健身，为湖州那个这样一个美丽的城市也提供了一个展示的平台，为湖州的老百姓，今后更好的生活、更好的服务，地方的经济发展，提供这么一个平台。感谢，好吧，好。行吧，不行再来一个。
Shen Baoshan, the director of the Huzhou Sports Bureau there. Well, taking their time with the podium. The rain, of course, not helping proceedings. Was forecast to come on around mid-afternoon, but it's gotten a little early. Surprised us, but it sounds as though we might be ready. Nicola Marini then in 3rd position.
接下来第2名是来自瑞图海豚洲际队艾米尔斯。
A decent result from him. This is the stage presentation, by the way.
第1名来自维利尔东南车队雅各布。
That was a good second place for Emils Liepens of Latvia as well in the blue jersey. And a man that this public is used to seeing, Jakub Marechko of Villiers Southeast, of course with their second sponsor being from China as well. Very, very popular winners.
Let's
welcome Miss Wu Jingjing and Mr. Xia Wenxing to award the stage winners fresh flowers, mantos, and gifts.
So some mementos of the moment to take home. And again, Jakub Marechko day by day. Better start thinking about ordering that excess baggage.
Let's give up
to our riders.
接下来有请颁奖嘉宾与运动员合影留念。
So another stage victory to the Palmares.
With our riders.
Palmares that is becoming more and more distinguished as time goes by. And the victor of stage 2 then is Jakub Marechko. Emils Liepens finished in 2nd place with Nicola Marini down in 3rd.
Okay, Espeta.
有请运动员合影留念。
Please riders, there's one more photo. Just
Well, another photograph to be taken.
Thank you very much.
This is the family one for the mantelpiece.
让我们用掌声再次祝贺我们今天前3名的获奖运动员。
And Jakub Marechko once more at the head of the table.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So down to recover and off for another day, an easier day for these sprinters tomorrow. It's just about getting in the time limit. And of course, with the climb not being too steep, that shouldn't present too much of an issue. So it has been another great day here at the Tour of Taihu Week, and it is victory for Jakub Marechko on stage 2. Goodbye.